Sumo.
Hi everyone, I'm Crow77. Today we're going to take a look at another Paifu here. So the person who sent this in is a viewer of the channel and asked me to take a look at it and kind of take a look at things. So what they said is they want some advice on decision making for dropping and picking blocks in the game. They think they played decently, but there's plenty of moments where they make a decision that differs from AI. Now, one quick note on all that, AI is not necessarily the best way to play. I know AIs are very strong, 8th and ninth Dawn, depending on what bot you're using. But it's kind of like chess bots on some level. Sometimes they're going to be making decisions that we can't understand as humans. It's not a human play to be making, and a lot of times we can't see the lines that branch out from it, too. So just because the AI says something is wrong or whatnot, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad play or anything. It just means that for some reason the bot is seeing a different line that could be better. So it's kind of a weird, nebulous thing to talk about, but let's go ahead and take a look at this game here. Starting out with a pretty advanced hand as far as everything goes. Draws an extra block here. That one doesn't really do anything because we already have the pair there. Same with the 7, actually. This is probably fine. If you want to force Paifu, you could drop the 7 instead. Your shapes are just kind of bad in general, so I don't really like this too much, honestly. Because 775 doesn't really help your shapes get better as much. You could just drop the 7 and have a wider tile acceptance here. Tile acceptance to actually improve your shapes, that is. So here we see the player on our left calling a little bit. We see all the 6s out at this point, so this is pretty much dead in the water. So at this point, we're probably trying to look for a way to make a callable hand, because this is probably going to be too slow to Riichi. It's a little bit late anyway, we might just end up folding. But one option here is to drop like 9-8 eventually. You'll probably drop the 9 first here and try to go some kind of Tanyao or something like that. So 9 gets called too. That's interesting. Okay, and here we do drop the 9, so that's good. Like I said, I think going for that Tanyao is fine. This 8's looking pretty safe too, obviously behind the Kabe of 6s, but it is weird we don't see any 8s yet. But it looks like it passes with no problem. And we actually get that switch over to Paifu over to Tanyao pretty quickly here. So overall not too bad a shape, but obviously it is a little bit late here. And here we hit 10 pi for just the 4 pin. I do like the Dama here, because if we look at the 4 pin, we can see 2 of them are already discarded. So we're probably just trying to make it to the end of the game here. We might get lucky and get the extra 4 and everything, but at this point we just need to evaluate safe tiles, but unfortunately not going to matter. Tanyao will indeed end it all. Alright, so mostly fine with that hand. Like I said, just a couple situations where I try to keep things a little bit more open to improve the shapes a little bit quicker. Alright, now this hand, starting with a awkward Dora, isolated terminal that's to the side of a 4. So not necessarily ideal there, but we got some other honors to take care of first, probably. Yes. This is all fine. Okay, so dropping the Dora early, I think is fine here. We are going for more central shapes anyway. You have 4 pairs, though. Hold on, what did that look like? So if we don't drop that here, our other option is to drop the 3 or the 8, but even here we only have 3 pairs, so it's probably fine here. I don't really see a problem with dropping the Dora there. It's just not super likely to get integrated into the hand. But now we're on the 4 pairs. Going through, and I do like switching up to try to get the more normal hand here. The one thing we have to watch out for is the player across is very scary at this point. I'm probably looking to just play safely more than anything, just because we really don't want to deal into that Mangan. So yeah, I think the White Dragon is probably fine here. White Dragon's a little bit scary too, actually, because if you see a call this early for the Dora, then chances are they have a decent idea of what their Yaku is going to be. So it could have been like a pair of red and a pair of white in hand. So this white is actually a little bit more dangerous than I would like here. We do see the Khan come out for the red dragon as well. And we do see a couple more dragons come out of the hand. So definitely something scary going on across the board. Yeah, and I do like the 5 discard here. That's starting to go in the direction of folding. Oof, and the other Dora here. Yeah, this is like the one chance that keeps things alive. Now we can discard the pair of 9s. Beautiful. And the 8 looks okay, but not great. And we are going to call here. Yeah, I think this is fine because we do have our own Dora 3-hand at this point. Like I said, the 8 looked okay, so I'd probably just go ahead and drop that here. Which is what we do, so good. Oh wow, and that's a fun tempo to draw too. 7 looks a little bit scary, but we did see that it passed a few turns ago, so it should be fine, and we definitely push it here. Alright, but unfortunately we don't make it there. So overall, I think this was fine. I didn't really see anything glaring in this hand to worry about too much. So moving on, we are in East 2-1 now. Okay, normal honor discards first. Yeah. One thing you always have to watch out for is things like Sanshoku chances. Anytime you have like terminal sets and that sort of thing, there's a possibility for it, but I don't think there was any real value in keeping the 9 there. It's just too inefficient. This one, though. So in this sort of situation, if I'm going to break a set, it's actually going to be discarding the 1-so, because that ends up forcing you to use this Dora. Like, I really don't want to get rid of it. It also keeps the Itsu open. So if the 7 comes out, the third 7 that is, you could just call it, but I'd probably try to hold on to this just a little bit longer. But killing the other one makes sense after you kill the first here. And there we go. There's the cut that I like. One of the things to think about with this too, this 1, 2, 4, 5 shape isn't great. So from that perspective, the 9-8 isn't as bad as it looks compared to the 1-2. But obviously, like I said, with the 1-2 being Dora, you really want to hold on to that if you can. Okay, and here we are calling. So probably calling for K10 at this point. It's probably fine. It's just so hard to make its tempi here. You need a 3 or a 6 specifically, pretty much. Yeah, so at this point it's just, you have to be willing to fold this kind of hand, is what it comes down to.
Long.
Okay, and we get a, I guess that's a fine Dama. But yeah, we didn't discard anything near Dora. What were we discarding at that point? So the 1 looks pretty safe across the board. 7 is pretty okay too, because we can see all the 5s. Yeah, so I think we played safe enough in that last round there that that's okay.
Long.
Okay. Alright, so at this point we're kind of in a weird spot, you know, being a little bit above player to our right in East 3. There hasn't been a ton of score changing yet. Very minor thing. Maybe not very minor. This hand, to me, looks likely to be Paifu. So from that perspective, I would probably rather keep the south wind than the west wind. Because if you make a pair of the south, it can count as your pair for Paifu. But the west can't, and the west is 1 cut already. So just a little bit of an order. God, of course. And then, of course, the south comes out. We would have had a pair for Paifu. So minor thing there, but obviously in this case it would have paid off. I swear I didn't watch these ahead of time or anything. Okay, we do find a pair here. Here we're probably looking to discard the 2 or the 6. Not the 5. Like, it's not awful. So one of the reasons we keep the 5 here is to be able to have the acceptance of the red 5 if we draw it. Just kind of an extra floating tile for that pair. The benefits of the 2 and 6 are that we can make a shape that more easily becomes a pair if we draw the 3-so or the 5-pin. That said, we still have acceptance of the 3-so or the 5-pin. So this one's actually a little bit narrower. Well, no, I guess it's about the same as far as acceptance goes. It's just kind of a value thing at that point. So I think I hold on to the 5 a little bit longer here. But yeah, I think that's a little bit minor. Okay, unfortunate there. Not too much to worry about. Like, I mean, there's no real indicator of danger or anything, so I think I'm completely fine with that. And with it being just 1,000 points, it's kind of whatever. Okay, so moving on to the next hand here, we have a more awkward starting hand, but getting that 7 is good. So here we want to hold on to 9, 8, 7, 9, 8, and the 7 if we can, because we have chances to upgrade it to the Sanshoku. Oh, what was that? So that 5-mon discard is a little bit odd. Again, if you were to draw like a 5 or something like that, the red 5, then it's a lot easier to integrate if you already have the pair. Here you can end up in weird situations where you end up furry 10 and everything. So at this point, I think I'm fine with dropping the green, especially since we have safe tiles against everyone else with this 7, 8, 9 shape. So if we have to fold, we can. And cutting the green just seems completely fine here. I think we're holding on to the safe tile a little bit too early here. Yeah, something weird is going on. I'd be interested to hear from this player what was kind of going through their head, because the 3 has value propositions with the potential for chanta and that sort of thing. But then it's also just a Ryeonman shape, which is just good. So I feel like they're giving up on this end. Oh, no, that's right. My mistake. So sorry. They had a note there. There were a few sumo giris in East 4, which is what it is. I hadn't noticed. Their internet died for a little bit here, so it looks like we are back. So my apologies there. I didn't quite catch that right away. Luckily, we're not in too bad a shape here or anything. And we do actually draw into that Sanshoku chance. So one of the difficult things here is where do we start calling this hand? Because obviously it's much better to get it concealed if we can. So if we get the opportunity to call, we could. It decreases the value by a lot. Relatively minor thing. I would keep this 5 over the 7 still. Again, partially because of the red 5 potential. But we also would probably take a 6. Dama for a little while and maybe end up pinfill. Like, we don't have to get this Sanshoku here. That's a good draw, though. Okay, so here I'm probably... we do good. Make the call here. Are there any 8s out right now? I don't know how to check that on here. I don't see any, though. So it's a little bit weird, but it is getting late. So I think just trying to win the hand here is fine. We do have to be careful with what we're discarding, though, and I think we're discarding a little bit dangerously here, but it does end up working out. I guess with the door being the 1, so there wasn't a ton of risk with it. But we also don't see any of the red 5s. So that's what I'd be concerned with the player to my left having right here. Let's see what they did have. So I had all the 5s, but not the red ones. So that's something, but where were the red 5s here? Okay, so one there, one dead. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. It just seemed a little bit dangerous to be discarding a lot of these tiles here. Like the 7 looks like absolute death on this table. And wait, did they draw Tenpai right after we discarded that? No, they did. Huh. Well, we got lucky there. We got rid of the 7 just in time, I guess. All right. So yeah, basically the takeaway there is don't necessarily tunnel vision on one Yaku when you have the option to go for other ones pretty easily. You know, you have the Pinfu chances and everything. There's no reason to keep the 3rd pair with the 7-mon and forsake the 6-mon draw at that point. So something to keep an eye out for there. All right, pretty normal discards here. We are a dealer again, so This hand is developing just fine. Nothing too exciting. Here's a decision point. I think I'm fine with that, yeah. So the other thing that you could do besides the 6-8 is dropping the 2-3, but I don't really like that. Even though this could open up into Sanshoku, I think that this line is completely fine here. And then we do get rewarded right away. So it's a 1-4 so weight. I say rewarded, it's not actually that great. Unfortunately, there's 3 4s left. I think we still definitely take it. You know, this is a 5,800 point hand with the Riichi. So now we can just let it play out and see if we get there. It would not surprise me if this one went to Ryukoku. But we do get Sumo. Lucky, we'll take it. Alright, next hand. So we have a Dora set, and we have a lot of advanced shapes here. Yeah, here I'm just playing for efficiency because we are Ishanten. So yeah, start with the wind and see what we draw. Hold on. That 5 discard looks weird. One of our value potentials here is to draw the 4-so and end up with the Ipeiko, the 3-3-4-4-5-5 here. So I don't like dropping that 5 this early, especially when we can lock this 6 as our pair potentially. So I think in this position I probably would just drop this 5. We don't really have a ton of shapes that need a lot of help improving. We have a lot of improvements in the bamboo sets and everything already. So I think that this 5 of bamboo is probably just better than the 5 of characters. And we draw 7-pin, okay. Scary stuff happening across the board there. Looks like it's going to be a Manzu Honitsu though. So yeah, this is a pretty safe Riichi. This is a situation where we could have been waiting on the 4-so Kanchan. But here we're on the 3-6-so 6-pin and Totsu. I mean, that's like mostly better overall. Like I think the Riichi only with a decent weight like this is fine. We end up getting the Kan too, which is kind of cool. And we did get the win. Okay. So yeah, pretty good value there actually. So here we're taking a pretty significant lead. So that's something to keep an eye out for. You want to play less aggressively the farther ahead you get. So try to stop reaching as much and that sort of thing about this time here. But here we've got a pretty quick Pinfu looking hand. Yep, making the right call there. So one minor thing here. 5 versus 6 block theory. Let's go over this real quick. So here with this hand we have 6 blocks. We have the pair of 1s, the 5-6 is 2, 3-4 is 3, 7-9 is 4, 4-5-5 is 5, and 7-8-9 is 6. So unless you're keeping a set around specifically for more value, you want to discard the weakest shape in this sort of situation. So the weakest shape right here is actually the 9-7. Here I'd probably discard it in the order of 7-9, just because the 9 is much safer on the board right now. You don't really need to improve the shapes at all. But the reason we discard that is because after we draw another improvement, our hand is going to be in a better shape having this pair of 5s than discarding the pair of 5s now. So that's definitely one thing. If this was like, a Dora 7-pin or something like that, that's where you keep this 5. That's fine because, at that point you want to try to integrate this Dora. It's fine to keep it around for value. And you can kind of hedge a little bit there at the cost of a little bit of efficiency. So something to keep an eye out for there. Okay, good draws there. I do like keeping the safe tile around at this point. So it looks completely safe on this board. And we do see a Riichi come out. So I'm going to try to pause on each of your turns here. Ooh, that's a rough draw here. So here we're starting with the green. Yeah. 3-pin. So this 3 isn't safe in the slightest. We can see 2 4s, which isn't much, and a 2. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking here. So the 1s and the 3s are completely live here. If we get lucky, we can get a Kabe on the 4s and potentially reach a Shabo, with the 3 being a Kabe, so something to keep an eye out for, but again, that's kind of aggressive for online play. Here I'm more likely just to fold online. So best discard here is probably the 4-so, with that coming out here. We go with the 2-so. I mean, it's fine. The 2 is slightly better against the player to our left. But yeah, now the 4-so comes out. And we're just hard folding here. So yeah, I like the decision making. Like I said, when you're this far ahead, there's no reason to really push it much. And player does get the sumo. Luckily a pretty small hand. We're fine with escaping like that. Alright, another pretty advanced hand here. So obviously looking at the Itsu. Yeah, so again, just fine hand. We have to draw perfect to be able to get the Itsu, obviously. We're not going to just hard commit to it either. So I like keeping these shapes around for a little bit and hedging. I don't think I like that, though. So with the Itsu chances, I get that the upgrade for the 7 is blocked by the 6 drawing into the shape and everything. But I'm pretty sure I just like discarding the 8 mon here. Maybe the 3 mon. No, probably the 8 mon. Again, sticking to that 5 block theory, you want to hold on to these blocks over here. So that's 3, 3, 3, 4, and 1, 1. So here, probably discard the 6, 8 and hold on to the Itsu chance, especially since it can be called and done open. Now we're getting into a weird Itsu sort of shape on that there, and wow, that's a fun Hanemon there. So drawing the Takame for the Sanshoku and everything. Okay, so that'll actually bust the dealer. Interesting. And we do come out on top with this. So going back to this again, just look at that 5 block theory. It seems like you're showing to go to 6 block a lot of times, and sometimes, like in this case here, probably cutting the wrong block. We do want to keep that value potential around, especially to shut down other hands. So thanks for sending this in. Really appreciate it. If you guys want to get your replays reviewed, we do have a Discord channel now. I'll put a link to that down in the comments below, or rather the description. And if you want to have a video like this reviewed, throw it in the channel there and we can take a look at it. But I think that's all I got this time. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.